पानी की तरफ कहाँ जा रहे हैं?
नहीं, पानी के अंदर गिर नहीं जाइए,
जान के साथ गिर गया पानी में जा रहा है, पानी में जा रहा है।
Do you believe in mermaids? If not, you'll definitely believe in them after this video. Here's our list of the top 10 mysterious mermaid sightings caught on tape. Coming in at number 10 is the 2023 sighting. In this extremely viral TikTok clip, a seafarer who goes by their username @sauce.90 on social media, real name Ryan Coleman, filmed two mysterious figures swimming by his boat as it travels through the choppy waves. As he records, his voice can be heard saying, "What are those? What the F's going on?" Pointing his camera at the sea, he notes, "Something swimming fast underneath that water, something swimming real fast." Now everyone in the comments believes that it's mermaids that are keeping up with his ship. A strange wailing can be heard in the background as he asks the camera, "What the F is that noise, bro? What is that noise?" Then as he continues to remark that he can hear the strange intruders, a shrieking voice announces, "Jump for me. Just hearing it creeps me out. Just listen." Oh, that was truly haunting. Number 9. Israel sighting. In 2009, dozens of locals near Kiryat Yam, Israel, claimed to see a mermaid off the shore at sunset. These sightings went on for some time before the local media got involved. The onlookers said the creature resembled a young girl and would often visit the beach and do tricks in the water. Eventually, the Israeli government noticed all the attention and issued a $1 million reward for anyone who could provide proof of the mermaid. This didn't include capturing, it simply required an authentic photo. Now NBC decided to do its own investigation and had a film crew stationed at Kiryat Yam Beach morning and night, above and below the water, to document the mermaid. The crew claimed that late one night they managed to spot a human figure dipping into the water, then disappearing. The research crew did their best to pursue the mermaid, but were unable to trace its location. Now the footage was transferred to the Coastal Oceans Research in Los Angeles to see if it could be authenticated. Michael Schatt, the center's director, said that although it was impossible to unequivocally determine the figure in the footage, it still remains a viable option. This just means it could be a mermaid, but can't be proven. Now tourists and locals are still on the lookout to prove the existence of the mermaid to claim the $1 million reward. Number 8. Double sighting. This is a story about an 1811 mermaid sighting. Now, since it was 1811, it wasn't filmed or photographed, but I think it should still be shared. There were a couple of mermaid sightings at Corpin and Kintyre around this time. A man named John McIsaac reported seeing a strange creature sitting on top of a black rock on the sea coast. He said the upper half of it was white and of the shape of a human body. The other half, towards the tail, of a brindled or reddish color, appeared covered with scales, but the extremity of the tail itself was a greenish-red shining color. The head was covered with long hair, and at times it would push back the hair on both sides of its head. It would also spread its tail like a fan, and while extended, the tail continued in tremulous motion, and when drawn in again, it remained motionless. It had very long brown hair, and its face was human-like with very hollow eyes. Now, that same afternoon, a young girl named Catherine Lowe Nocton stated that she was herding some cattle near the seashore when she saw a creature sliding off one of the rocks and dropping into the water, surfacing 6 yards out. It had long black hair, white skin on its upper part, and dark brown skin on its lower, which was fish-like. Now she thought it might be a boy who had fallen from the fishing boat. She ran to tell her mother, and her father went with her to the coast but could see nothing in the sea. Now with the descriptions being practically the same, I think it's safe to say that both of them saw the same mermaid. Number 7. Zimbabwe sighting. Some mermaids just want to be left alone, and I don't blame them. This just so happened to be the case of Zimbabwe dam workers in 2012 who were trying to install a water pump which was crucial to the local agriculture. Local divers and workers were hired to see what was blocking the pump, and when they surfaced, they vowed to never return. Why? Well, because there was a mermaid there. Sam Sepepa Nkomo, a water resource minister, told the Senate committee that the village chiefs could perform an ancient ritual ritual to get rid of the mermaid and calm the workers' anxiety. But they still refused to return even after the ritual was performed. Being skeptical of the workers' reasonings for quitting, the government hired outside help as they thought this belief was cultural, but the new workers reported the same thing and refused to finish the repairs. To this day, the dam is still not finished. Hey, I wouldn't mess with the mermaid either. I think it's best that they left it alone. Number 6. Hawaii sighting. The island of Hawaii has plenty of folklore and legends around beautiful aquatic creatures, but in 1998, a diver named Liker claims he got the first ever documented proof that mermaids exist. Liker operates the Jack Diving Locker of Kauai and was 20 minutes off the coast of Kauai when he saw what looked like a nude woman swimming with a pod of dolphins. The woman was able to keep up the pace with the dolphins, which Liker thought was odd. All of a sudden, she jumped into the air and he realized that she had the lower half of a fish. Now 10 people on a boat witnessed this incident, but the mermaid disappeared after just 2 jumps out of the water. Now you might think this is the end of the story, but an hour later, as Liker was photographing some underwater life, that same mermaid brushed up against him while swimming and turned back around just in time for him to snap a few pictures. He said, "I feel very lucky that I'm the one to finally prove to the world what the people here have known for half a century. The Kauai Point mermaid is real." Number 5. Canada sighting. In 1967, near the main islands of British Columbia, a ferry filled with tourists spotted a blonde-haired mermaid topless on a beach, eating a salmon fish and enjoying the waves splashing on her. Yep, you heard that right. Now one witness said she was attractive and had dimples, and now there was one photo taken of the event which does show a blonde woman with the lower half of a fish. Now a similar incident happened later that week with a mermaid spotted, but by that time there were plenty of skeptics who didn't believe that she was real. Charles White from the Undersea Garden financed a $25,000 reward for the mermaid's capture and even offered room and board with special combs for the mermaid's pleasure. Now unfortunately nothing came out of it and the story died off. Number 4. Minnesota sighting. A mysterious video claims to show the moment a mermaid was pulled from the water, prompting claims the mythical creatures do exist. The clip shows a green tail floating in the water and a figure being put onto a stretcher. It was taken by an Australian tourist on a beach in Minnesota, but the precise location is unknown. According to Paranormal Elite, a YouTube channel which was sent the footage, the person who filmed it stayed behind after the beach was cleared. The man, identified only as Mackie, said large vehicles arrived along with people wearing yellow hazmat suits to protect them from the dangerous materials. A Paranormal Elite spokesman said, "The creature seen bears striking resemblance to the mermaids depicted in fictional stories. It remains a mystery whether or not mermaids do inhabit lakes in Minnesota. After all, what happens when the lakes freeze in the winter?" The enthusiast continued, "I urge everyone to keep an open mind and come to a conclusion yourself. If this is in fact a fake, the question arises as to why anyone would go to such great lengths to hoax a video like this." Number 3. Indonesia sighting. The local villagers in the Kai Islands of Indonesia had a creature that they were familiar with. They call it the orang ikan, translated as manfish. During World War II in 1943, the Japanese soldiers stationed there and learned that this was no myth. The soldiers stationed in a 555 square mile area in the islands, and they had multiple claims of encounters with these fishmen, or as the modern world calls them, mermaids. The Japanese soldiers recorded not one but many different sightings, claiming they all saw the same thing. The creature was mostly seen in the sea, then on land. They were 150 centimeters tall and had spikes on their spine, shoulders, and neck. They were said to have light pink skin similar to a salmon and a mouth like carp. Instead of a single tail, they had 2 frog-like long fins and long arms. One sighting happened when a troop of soldiers came to a natural lagoon after leisurely exploring the island. The lagoon seemed normal until they saw some thrashing in the water. Suddenly, it jumped out of the water and onto a rock. It turned, faced the soldiers, and let out a weird gurgling noise. Another same creature was seen swimming in the waters towards them. They didn't seem friendly, and not knowing the creature's intentions, the soldiers started shooting at them, but the creatures escaped and disappeared out of view. A sergeant named Mr. Taro requested the villagers to inform him if any of these creatures were captured, dead, or alive. The soldier summoned the general soon after, who saw these creatures with his own eyes. Mr. Taro tried his best to get the scientific community involved after the war, but unfortunately it didn't happen. Number 2. Pennsylvania sighting. Henry Loucks was a fisherman working the Susquehanna River in Pennsylvania, and in 1881, he reported 5 separate sightings of a mermaid in the river. He claimed that the mermaid came out at sunrise and at dusk, rising to the surface of the water, where it had a good look around, floated on top of the water for a while, and then slowly sank beneath the surface, leaving its hair floating on the surface for a moment before fully diving into the depths below. Henry said that he was scared to shoot at it as he feared that he might have been charged with homicide, so he let it go. When asked where he thought it went, he supposed that it had a cave somewhere at the bottom of the river. Newspaper reports appealed for the mermaid to be captured, alive if possible, and reassured potential mermaid hunters that they would be immune from prosecution if they brought it in dead. Now, to date, no one has taken advantage of the offer. And coming at number 1 is Australia sighting. Viral pictures of a mysterious skeleton found at a beach in Australia were shared this year, and many people think that it could belong to a mermaid. Photographs of the strange looking skeleton were first shared on Facebook by Bobby Lee Oates, who spotted it washed ashore on Keppel Sands, Queensland while on a walk. Bobby Lee explained that she was stumped as she couldn't tell if the decomposing remains were human or an entirely new species. The picture circulating online showed an elongated bone structure with a spinal cord and rib cage, and a human-looking skull with a long jaw. Further describing the remains found that many have dubbed mermaid bones, Bobby Lee told the New York Post that the body was about 6 feet long and had what resembled a tail or some sort of limb. Additionally, it had hair and color similar to that of a cow or kangaroo. Needless to say, people on the internet were freaking out, believing it was the body of a mermaid. Well, that's all for our list of the top 10 mysterious mermaid sightings caught on tape. After seeing all this, do you think mermaids are real? Let us know in the comments down below, and we'll see you next time.